Alright guys, welcome back to lesson 8. Today we're going to be going over fair value gaps and inverse fair value gaps. This is a key part of our strategy. Yesterday we went over CISD, which is another key part, and then today I'm covering fair value gaps. So without further ado, let's jump into fair value gaps and get ready to lock in because this is a very important lesson if you don't know what a fair value gap is. Let's dive in. Now, before we head over to the charts, I'm first going to just show you on this PDF that I built of what a fair value gap is, how to understand it before we jump over to see all the confusion on the chart. So a fair value gap is a space between candle number 1 and candle number 3 where price didn't trade during the move. Usually happens after a big, fat, diddy, dick candle, whatever you want to call it. Price often returns to that gap before continuing on its move because what it is saying, a fair value gap is showing where orders are left behind. So when price returns back into that fair value gap that is left behind, there are still orders yet to be filled. So when price hits it, it's filling those orders and then will want to continue on to its path. So if you look right here, we have candle number 1 and we have candle number 3. You can see this box is our fair value gap. It's drawn between the difference between candle 1 and candle 2 or candle 3 from the wicks. It's not from the bodies, it's from the wicks where price never reached, and then we just bolted through here, showing that there's orders left behind here. So if price wants to return to this zone again, we can often expect there's still buy orders in here that price wants to fill and then continue on its path to the upside. Now to the opposite side, a bearish fair value gap is just on the opposite side. It's just red candles, 3 red candles, always a partnership of 3 candles. That is a fair value gap. We have candle number 1, candle number 3. We take the difference between candle 1 and 3's wicks, and then we draw our box. That would be our fair value gap, showing that this one has more sell orders in this box than buy orders, showing that it literally flushed through, leaving behind more sell orders in this area. So if price returns, we can often expect there to be more sell orders in this area. Now that we know what a fair value gap is, let's go and identify some. So I actually have an indicator on. It's fair value gaps by Lux Algo. It shows me the fair value gaps that we can see here. So let's zoom in on this big one right here in the middle, right here. We have candle 1 and we have candle 3. We're going to draw the difference between the top of candle 1 for a green fair value gap to the bottom of candle 3 right there is going to be our fair value gap. We have another one right here. You can see top of candle 1, bottom of candle 3. Boom. That space right there is our fair value gap. Now let's look for a bearish fair value gap. You can see over here, let's look at this one right here. Any gaps? So we have one right here. Candle 1, candle 3, it's the gap in between there. And then for the bearish side, we have one right here, and let's draw one out. We got candle number 1, candle number 3. We're going to draw the difference between the 2 wicks. Right there would be our fair value gap. Now that we understand what a fair value gap is, we're next going to cover what is an inverse fair value gap, because we obviously know what a fair value gap is now. We understand what it is doing. What is an inverse fair value gap? Now, an inverse fair value gap is a fair value gap that got disrespected. So let's say, for an example, right here, you can see we have a bearish fair value gap. When price returned back into this zone, it didn't reject out of it. Instead, we actually disrespected that fair value gap, making this now an inverse fair value gap. Instead of acting as a continuation zone, it fails. And when it fails, it creates an even stronger imbalance in the opposite direction. So this bearish fair value gap now got disrespected, showing that this is now a bearish fair value gap if price returns. Because we disrespected it, we filled all of those past orders and created a new one. So once we disrespected it, it's showing that there are still orders left behind here, just in the opposite direction of what it originally was. Now for this opposite side, you can see we're in an uptrend. We have a bullish fair value gap here because our candle 1, candle 3, the difference, we blow right through that zone, now making this an inversion. So instead of there being more buy orders in this zone than sellers, it is now reversed. There are more sellers than buyers because we disrespected it. This happens because the original orders didn't hold, and now more aggressive orders step in from the other side. So now that we can understand what an inverse fair value gap is, let's jump over to the chart and identify some. So right here, I already can spot one right where we're at our current price action. We have one right here, okay? It is a bearish fair value gap. We have candle 1, candle 3, the difference between them, and then boom, we have our fair value gap. When we got into this zone, we wanted to reject, but instead we pushed right out of it and disrespected it here on the candle close. So that when price did return in here, we end up bouncing right off of it for that move right there. Okay, now let's look at another one that we have. Let's look at one to the opposite side. We have one right here. I can see one to the opposite side right here of an inverse fair value gap. We have this fair value gap. It's been holding it, holding it, holding it. Then we disrespect it, okay? Once we disrespect it, we tap back in, and now it's holding to the other side. So you can think of this as like a key level, okay? So at first, it's going to want to hold it, but then when we break below it, it now inverses it and flips all those orders to the other side, okay? It's pretty easy to understand. Now, a quick little recap, how to spot inversion fair value gaps. Mark your normal fair value gaps, okay? As long as you can mark a normal fair value gap, you can find an inverse fair value gap. Now, watch how price reacts in that fair value gap. If it holds that fair value gap, perfect. That is just a fair value gap. But if it disrespects that fair value gap, now we can call that an inverse fair value gap, showing that there's more orders on the opposite side than what originally was presented. All right, guys, that's it for my fair value gap lesson. I hope you guys can understand what a fair value gap is and what an inverse fair value gap is. Again, I encourage you to go back through and back test this. Go on your charts and look exactly if you guys can spot them. Look what price does whenever it enters into a fair value gap and just kind of go from there. Now, one thing I do want to leave you with, not every fair value gap has to be respected or disrespected. It doesn't have, all of them don't have to hold. It could blow right through it multiple times. So just keep that into understanding. We don't just trade fair value gaps. It's just a confluence in our strategy that we're going to be covering here in just a little bit. But all right, make sure you guys like this video and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this, and drop a comment to let me know how I did.